I finally had her completely, tangled in the sheets of their marital bed, her body arching under mine like she was made for it. The bedroom door creaked open, and there stood Marcus, that pathetic fool, keys dangling from his limp fingers like he'd forgotten how to use them. His face went white as he took in the sight, his wife naked beneath his best friend. Me, Daniel. I didn't stop moving at first. Why should I? This was the payoff after months of careful work. Elena turned her head toward him, no panic in her eyes, just that cool defiance I'd come to love. "Marcus," she said calmly, "we need to talk." He didn't say a word, just stood there frozen, helpless as always. I almost laughed out loud. The guy couldn't even muster a shout. Pathetic. It all started 6 months earlier when I moved back to the city. Perfect timing, really. Marcus, my old college buddy, was thrilled. Insisted on dinner that first weekend. "Elena, you're going to love him," he babbled while setting the table. "Dan's genuine, loyal, the kind of friend you can count on." I brought flowers for her, whiskey for him. She was even better in person than the wedding photos he'd shoved in my face years ago. Dark hair, sharp eyes, that body. I let my gaze linger just enough. "So you're the famous Elena," I said. "Marcus showed me your photos. They didn't do you justice." She blushed, laughed. Already hooked. Marcus beamed like an idiot, oblivious. "We should do this every week," he suggested. "Sunday dinners, tradition." "I'd love that," I said, quick and eager. Elena noticed. Good, let her notice. I wove myself in seamlessly. Dinners, movies, galleries, brunches, always there, always charming. Marcus loved it, thought he had his perfect integrated life. What a joke. He had no idea I was targeting his wife from day one. The cracks were easy to exploit. I'd text her directly, send articles, memes. She'd light up at her phone, show Marcus like he was part of it. He'd laugh along, clueless. Why send it to him when I wanted her attention on me? The touching started small, hand on her lower back guiding her through doors, her fingers brushing my arm, knees touching under tables, neither pulling away. Marcus saw it all and did nothing, told himself it was comfortable. Weak. In April, I helped with her presentation. We sat close on the couch, heads together, laughing. Marcus walked in, that brief pause before they greeted him. I stood, shook his hand, lingered on his shoulder. "Your wife's brilliant," I said. He smiled tightly, thanked me. Helpless fool. Spring to summer, I escalated. Text threads just between us. Inside jokes. She cut her hair, new perfume, my suggestions. When Marcus went to Seattle for a week, perfect opportunity. "I'll check in on her," I told him casually. We went to dinner, Italian place. Laughed, flirted openly. I heard him call one night, told her to tell him thanks for looking after her. I smirked in the background. When he returned, she was glowing for me. He noticed, said she seemed happy, clear-headed. Yeah, because she was thinking about me. On a hike, I steadied her waist over rough trail, held longer than needed, whispered close. Marcus ahead, scouting like the good little provider. He turned, saw us, cold look, but said nothing, spineless. That night she was distracted in bed with him. Good, mine was better anyway. July heat wave, my idea for the lake house weekend. Marcus agreed, hoping to reset. Reset what? His failing grip. First night, too much wine. He passed out early on the couch. I took her to the deck, moonlight perfect. Hand on her arm, tucked her hair behind her ear. She closed her eyes, leaned in. Almost kissed her right there. But I pulled back, tease her. Make her want more. She begged for time. Fine. Patience pays off. Next morning, Marcus whined about not feeling well, wanted to leave early. In the car, he held her hand. She let him, but limp. "Everything okay?" he asked. She lied. He didn't push. Coward. August, no more hiding. Texts constant, lunches for networking, alone time excuses. Marcus watched, gut twisting, did nothing. One evening, my car in driveway, we were on the couch. Clothes jumped apart when he walked in. I stood quick, just leaving. He invited me to stay for dinner. What a pushover. I looked at Elena. She said softly, "Stay." I sat back down. Dinner was hilarious. We synced perfectly, reaching for salt same time, inside laughs. Marcus outsider in his own home, priceless. After I left that night, he finally asked her, "Are you having an affair?" She said no. He pushed, "But you want to." Silence. He begged to fix it. She said she loved him like a brother. I laughed when she told me later. September, I floated a fake transfer to New York. Marcus relieved, Elena devastated. Withdrawn, crying. He held her, then my text buzzed. She pulled away to read it. His moment shattered. Tough luck. Transfer fell through on purpose. Elena lit up. Marcus died inside a bit more. October, their anniversary. He planned romantic dinner. She worked late. My car parked blocks away. We were upstairs, kissing deep when I cradled her face. I can't pretend anymore, I said. He's my best friend. But I can't give you up, she whispered. We didn't wait. Frantic, urgent, clothes off on the bed. Familiar by then, wasn't our first time. Marcus watched from the door, crack the whole thing. Didn't burst in. Just stood there, masochistic idiot, witnessing his own cucking. He left quietly, drove around, came back after I was gone. She pretended sleep. Next morning, normal routine. He played along, numb loser, it kept going. Evidence everywhere, my cologne on pillows, extra glasses, texts open, caught us twice more. Once in living room, her straddling me. Didn't notice him till he cleared throat. She scrambled, I stood calm. Get out, he said quietly. I grabbed jacket, left, no fight in him. She cried, sorry. He asked why. It just happened. Lame excuse, he knew she'd keep doing it. Slept in guest room, heard her cry, music to me. November stopped pretending. I came over openly, hand on her thigh during movies, glances at dinner. Marcus watched like a spectator, didn't object. Self-destructive moron, afraid to be alone, hoping she'd choose him. Never would. Final conquest, late November Friday. He came home early for the talk. Heard us upstairs. This time he didn't hide, pushed door open. We were fully into it, naked, passionate. Didn't notice at first. Then she saw him, gasped. I froze when I looked up. Don't stop on my account, he said hollow, clearly enjoying yourselves. She pulled sheet, begged. He sat in the chair. I want to watch, see what you have that we don't. Insane but perfect. I looked at Elena, silent yes. Sheet dropped. We continued, better with audience. She abandoned like never with him, performed for his humiliation. He watched till he broke, then, I'll be in guest room. Left us to it, heard everything through walls, crushed him completely. Morning he packed bags, she asked where. Does it matter? She desperate, I love you. Maybe, he said, but you love him more, can't watch you choose him every day. Left her crying, I pulled in as he drove away. She ran to my arms immediately. Comfort, please, victory, sex. He checked into hotel. Stared at ceiling, empty. Betrayed by wife, best friend, me, and himself for letting it happen. Couldn't stop it, helpless from start. Divorce coming, sure, he'll lose everything. I'll have her fully now, no more sneaking, what a rush. Taking your best friend's wife inch by inch while he watches powerless. Laughable how he facilitated it all, invites, thanks, excuses. Thought trust made him strong, made him weak. He's broken now, alone in some hotel replaying it. Good, deserves it, and me, winning, always do. Marcus never stood a chance. 4. 5's fast executed code made the story should be at least at 25 mins long, recited whole shadows of conquest. I finally had her completely. Tangled in the sheets of their marital bed, her body arching under mine like she was made for it. The bedroom door creaked open, and there stood Marcus, that pathetic fool, keys dangling from his limp fingers like he'd forgotten how to use them. His face went white as he took in the sight, his wife naked beneath his best friend. Me, Daniel, I didn't stop moving at first, why should I? This was the payoff after months of careful work. Elena turned her head toward him, no panic in her eyes, just that cool defiance I'd come to love. Marcus, she said calmly, we need to talk. He didn't say a word, just stood there, frozen, helpless as always. I almost laughed out loud. The guy couldn't even muster a shout. Pathetic. Let me take you back to how I pulled this off, step by calculated step. It started 6 months earlier when I moved back to the city after 3 years in Chicago. Perfect timing, really. Marcus, my old college buddy, was thrilled to hear I was returning. He called me the second he found out, babbling about how great it would be to have me around again. Insisted on dinner that very first weekend back. I showed up with flowers for Elena and a bottle of expensive whiskey for him. He was setting the table like the good little host, grinning ear to ear. Elena, you're going to love him, he told her. Dan's one of those rare people who just gets it. Genuine, loyal, the kind of friend you can count on for anything. Loyal, that's rich. I smiled, handed her the flowers, let my eyes linger on her face, her figure, just long enough to plant the seed. Oh, you're the famous Elena, I said smoothly. Marcus showed me your wedding photos years ago. They didn't do you justice at all. She blushed, laughed it off, but I saw the spark. Already hooked. Marcus beamed like an idiot, completely oblivious to the way I was sizing up his wife right in front of him. The evening was easy. Wine, stories from college, my Chicago adventures, his architecture job, her marketing career. By the end, Marcus was glowing with contentment. "We should do this every week," he suggested as we cleared dishes. "Sunday dinners like a tradition." "I'd love that." I jumped in quickly. Too quickly maybe, but he didn't notice. Elena did. She noticed everything. Good. Let her notice how eager I was, and so I became a fixture. Dinners turned into movies, art galleries, weekend brunches. I was always there, always charming, always finding ways to be close to her. Marcus loved it. He thought his life was finally integrated. Work, friends, and home life all blended perfectly. What a joke. He had no clue I was targeting his wife from the very first night. I saw the boredom in her eyes when she looked at him, the way their marriage had settled into routine. I knew I could exploit that. The small things came first. I'd text her directly instead of going through him, links to articles I knew she'd like, memes that matched her dry humor perfectly. She'd smile at her phone in a way she hadn't for Marcus in months. Sometimes she'd show him what I sent and he'd laugh along, clueless why I hadn't included him. Why would I? Her attention was mine now. Then the touching. Nothing obvious at first, just my hand on her lower back guiding her through a doorway, lingering a second too long. Her fingers brushing my arm when she laughed at one of my jokes, our knees touching under restaurant tables, neither of us moving away. Marcus saw it all. I caught him glancing, that tight little smile when he pretended everything was fine. He told himself we were just comfortable with each other. Weak. If he'd said one word, one jealous remark, maybe things would have stopped. But he never did. One evening in late April, I was at their place helping Elena with a big presentation for work. We were on the couch, heads bent close over her laptop, laughing at my suggestions. Marcus walked in from work. There was that brief pause, that microsecond where we both registered him before greeting cheerfully. I stood, shook his hand firmly, let my palm linger on his shoulder. "Your wife's brilliant," I told him. "She should be in finance, she'd dominate." He smiled that strained smile, thanked me for helping, felt the tightness in his chest but said nothing. Helpless from the start. As spring slid into summer, I turned it up. Our private text thread exploded. Inside jokes, flirty banter disguised as friendly. She changed her haircut on my suggestion, started wearing a new perfume I mentioned offhand. When Marcus had to go to Seattle for a week-long conference, it was golden. I casually offered to check in on her so she wouldn't be lonely. He thanked me profusely. What a chump. We went out to dinner that week, new Italian place downtown. Wine, laughter, my foot brushing hers under the table. She didn't pull away. He called one night. I was right there, smirking in the background as she told him I was looking after her. Told her to pass on my regards. I nearly snorted. When he got back, she was different, glowing, alive in a way she hadn't been with him. He noticed, commented she seemed happy, clear-headed. Yeah, because she was thinking about me constantly. On a group hike one weekend, I walked behind with her while Marcus scouted ahead like the dutiful provider. Rough patch on the trail. I steadied her with both hands on her waist, held her close longer than necessary, whispered something that made her shiver. He turned back, saw us, got that cold look in his eyes, but said nothing. Just kept walking, spineless. That night back home, she was distracted in bed with him. I knew because she told me later, laughing about it. Good. My touch lingered on her mind. July brought a heat wave and my masterstroke, suggesting a long weekend at my family's lake house. Marcus agreed eagerly, thinking it would reset things. Reset what? His fading hold on her. The place was perfect, big windows, private dock. First day swimming and grilling, everything surface normal. That night, too much wine. Marcus passed out early on the couch like the lightweight he is. I took Elena out to the deck under the moonlight. Stood close, hand on her arm, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear slowly. She closed her eyes, leaned in. I could have kissed her right there. But I held back, tease her, make her ache for it. She whispered she needed more time. Fine. Patience is part of the game. Next morning, Marcus whined about not feeling well, wanted to cut the trip short. In the car ride home, he reached for her hand. She let him hold it, but her fingers stayed limp, unresponsive. He asked if everything was okay. She lied smoothly. He didn't push. Coward. August was open season, no more subtle hints. Constant texts, lunches under the cover of work networking, excuses to be alone. Marcus watched it unfold, that sick look in his gut, but still did nothing. Paralyzed. One night my car was bowled in the driveway. We'd been on the couch, very close, jumped apart when he walked in. I stood fast, just leaving. But he, hilarious, invited me to stay for dinner. What a pushover. I glanced at Elena. She said softly, "Stay." So I sat back down, smirking inside. Dinner was comedy gold. We moved in perfect sync, reaching for the salt at the same moment, sharing glances over inside jokes. Marcus sat there like the third wheel in his own marriage, outsider in his own home. Priceless. After I left that night, he finally worked up the nerve to ask her if she was having an affair. She flat out said no. He pushed. "But you want to." Silence. Then he begged, "I love you, we can fix this." She said she loved him too, but it rang hollow, like saying it to a sibling. She told me everything later, and we laughed about how broken he sounded. September, I played a brilliant card, floated that I might transfer to New York. Marcus was secretly relieved. Elena fell apart, withdrawn, barely eating. He held her one night while she cried, thinking he was comforting her. Then my text came in. She pulled away instantly to read it. His little moment shattered. Tough break. Of course the transfer fell through. I made sure of it. When I told them I was staying, Elena's face lit up like Christmas. Marcus looked like something died inside him. Perfect. October, their 6th anniversary. He planned some pathetic romantic dinner at home, bought her a necklace she'd mentioned months ago. She told him she had to work late. My car parked 2 blocks away to be safe. We were upstairs, music low, kissing deep and desperate when I cradled her face. "I can't pretend anymore," I told her. "He's my best friend." "I know," she breathed. "But I can't give you up. I've tried." We didn't hold back that time, clothes off fast, urgent, familiar, because it wasn't our first. I took her on their bed and she gave herself completely. Marcus watched the whole thing from the cracked door like the masochistic loser he is. Didn't burst in, didn't yell. Just stood there silently, forcing himself to see his own humiliation. Then slunk away quietly, drove around for hours, came back after I left. She pretended to sleep. Next morning, business as usual. He played along numb. The evidence piled up after that, my cologne on his pillows, extra wine glasses, her phone buzzing with my texts she didn't hide anymore. Caught us twice more after that. First time in the living room, her straddling me, clothes half off, so lost in it we didn't hear him. He cleared his throat. She scrambled, flushed and guilty. I stood calm, hands up. "Marcus, get out," he said quietly. "No fire, no fight." I grabbed my jacket and left. Easiest exit ever. She cried to him, "I'm sorry, it just happened." He called her on the lame excuse. Knew she'd keep doing it. Slept in the guest room that night. Heard her crying alone, sweet sound. By November we'd stopped all pretense. I came over openly, hand on her thigh during movie nights. Stolen kisses when he was in the kitchen. Meaningful glances across the dinner table. Marcus watched it all like a passive spectator in his own life. Didn't object, didn't throw me out. Some sad part of him still hoped she'd choose him. She never would. The ultimate conquest came late November, a Friday. He came home early, planning to finally talk. Heard us upstairs and this time didn't hide or leave. Pushed the bedroom door wide open. We were fully naked, deep into it, passionate, sweaty. Didn't notice him at first. Elena saw him, gasped. I looked up, froze for half a second, then smirked inside. "Don't stop on my account," he said in that hollow voice. "Clearly you're both enjoying yourselves." She pulled a sheet up, pleading. "Marcus, please." He cut her off, walked in calmly, sat in the reading chair by the window. "No more lies. I want to watch. I want to see what you two have that we don't." Insane, but perfect for me. I looked at Elena, silent question. She let the sheet drop. "Yes." We continued right there with him watching. Better, actually, more intense, knowing he was seeing every detail, every way she responded to me that she never did to him. She put on a show, abandoning herself completely. I took my time, made sure he saw it all. He lasted a while, then broke, stood quietly. "I'll be in the guest room." Left us to finish. Heard everything through the thin walls, her cries, the rhythm, destroyed him utterly. Morning after he was packing a bag, she found him, face swollen from fake tears. "Where are you going?" "Does it matter?" Desperate now. "I love you, I really do." "Maybe," he said, zipping the suitcase. "But you love him more. I can't watch you choose him every single day and pretend it doesn't kill me." He walked out. As he drove off, I pulled into the driveway. She ran straight into my arms. Comfort, hardly. Victory round in the bed that was now fully mine. He's in some cheap hotel across town now, staring at the ceiling, empty inside. Betrayed by his wife, his best friend, me, and most of all by himself for being too weak to stop any of it. Divorce papers coming soon. He'll lose the house, half his assets, most of his dignity. Me, I won. Took his wife slowly, deliberately, right under his nose while he facilitated every step, inviting me over, thanking me for helping, making excuses for the obvious. Thought his blind trust made him noble. It made him the perfect mark. What a rush. Stealing your best friend's wife piece by piece while he stands by powerless, watching his own destruction. Laughable how easy it was. Marcus never had a chance, and now she's mine completely. No more games, just conquest achieved. 1. 7's fast at least 4,000 words. This is just half the length. Shadows of conquest. I remember the exact moment I decided to take her. It wasn't some impulsive thing. It was calculated, deliberate, and deliciously inevitable. I finally had Elena completely, her naked body writhing beneath mine in the bed she shared with Marcus, her legs wrapped around me, pulling me deeper as she moaned my name. Their marital bed, our playground now. The door creaked open and there he was, Marcus, the eternal loser, standing in the doorway like a statue carved out of pure helplessness. Keys still dangling from his trembling fingers, mouth half open, eyes wide as he took in the scene, his wife getting thoroughly claimed by his so-called best friend. Me, Daniel. I didn't stop thrusting at first. Why the hell should I? This was the culmination of months of flawless execution, and I wanted him to see every second of it. Elena turned her head toward him slowly, no panic, no shame, just that cool, defiant look I taught her to wear. Marcus, she said in that steady, icy voice, we need to talk. He didn't speak, didn't move, didn't even drop his keys. Just stood there frozen, like a deer staring down the headlights of his own destruction. I almost laughed out loud right then. The man couldn't even muster a single shout, a single what the fuck. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Let me walk you through exactly how I dismantled his life, piece by careful piece, while he handed me the tools to do it. It all began 6 months earlier, when I moved back to the city after 3 years in Chicago. I'd kept in loose touch with Marcus, enough birthday texts and occasional calls to maintain the best friend facade. But the second I knew I was returning, I saw the opportunity. Marcus was still the same predictable, trusting sap he'd been in college. Married to a beautiful woman who, from everything he'd bragged about over the years, had settled into a comfortable but boring routine. Prime target. He called me the day my transfer was confirmed, voice bursting with excitement. Dan, man, this is huge. You have to come to dinner the first weekend you're back. Elena's dying to finally meet the famous Daniel I never shut up about. Famous Daniel. I smiled into the phone, perfect. I showed up that Saturday with a bouquet of white lilies for Elena, elegant, sensual, impossible to ignore, and a bottle of 20-year Macallan for Marcus. He answered the door in an apron, grinning like a kid on Christmas. Come in, come in. Elena's in the kitchen finishing the roast. He led me through their tasteful, architect-designed home, his pride and joy, to the dining room where he was fussing over the table settings. Elena, you're going to love him, he said loudly toward the kitchen. Dan's one of those rare people who just gets it, you know, genuine, loyal, the kind of friend you can count on for anything. Loyal. I nearly choked holding back the laugh. I handed him the whiskey, clapped him on the back. Missed you, brother. Elena appeared then, wiping her hands on a towel, and I let myself take her in openly. Dark hair loose over her shoulders, fitted dress that hugged every curve, sharp green eyes that sized me up in return. Better than the wedding photos he'd shown me years ago, much better. So you're the famous Elena, I said, stepping forward, handing her the flowers with a slow smile. My eyes held hers just a beat longer than polite. Marcus has told me so much. He showed me your wedding photos once. They didn't do you justice, not even close. She blushed, actually blushed, laughed lightly, but I saw the spark ignite. He's told me you're quite the charmer. I see he wasn't exaggerating. Marcus beamed like a proud puppy, completely blind to the current passing between his wife and me. The evening unfolded perfectly, stories from college, carefully edited to make me look heroic, my tales from Chicago exaggerated just enough, his safe architecture anecdotes, her marketing triumphs. Wine flowed. Laughter flowed. By dessert, Marcus was practically glowing with satisfaction. As we cleared the dishes, he said, We should do this every week. Sunday dinners, make it a tradition. I'd love that, I answered immediately, maybe a touch too eagerly. Elena noticed. Her eyes flicked to me, curious, intrigued. Marcus didn't catch it, and that was the beginning. I inserted myself into their lives like I belonged there. Dinners became movies at their place, then art gallery openings, weekend brunches, group hikes. I was always available, always charming, always finding reasons to be near her. Marcus ate it up. He kept saying how great it was to have his two favorite people getting along so well, how his life finally felt integrated. Integrated? What an idiot. He thought he was building a stronger circle. I was building a noose around his marriage. The subtle moves started small but deliberate. I began texting Elena directly instead of routing everything through him. At first, innocent stuff, articles I thought she'd find interesting, memes that matched her sarcastic humor. She responded fast, enthusiastically. Soon we had our own private thread full of inside jokes and observations. Sometimes she'd show Marcus something I sent, and he'd chuckle along, never wondering why I hadn't included him in the message. Why would I? I wanted her eyes on my name lighting up her screen, not his. Then came the physical escalation. Nothing blatant, just calibrated touches designed to test boundaries and normalize intimacy. My hand on the small of her back guiding her through a crowded restaurant doorway, lingering half a second longer than necessary. Her fingers brushing my forearm when she laughed at one of my stories. Our knees pressing together under the dinner table and neither of us shifting away. Marcus saw every bit of it. I caught him glancing, that tight little smile plastered on his face as he pretended it was all fine. He told himself we were just comfortable with each other, that it was healthy, weak, spineless. If he'd said one possessive word, one jealous glare that actually meant something, maybe the game would have slowed. But he never did. Late April, I offered to help Elena with a major client presentation she was stressing over. We sat side by side on their couch, heads bent close over her laptop, my arm draped casually along the backrest behind her. We laughed at my finance-inspired suggestions, our shoulders touching. Marcus walked in from work right in the middle of it. There was that telltale pause, the brief freeze where Elena and I registered his presence before snapping into cheerful greetings. I stood smoothly, shook his hand with that firm grip he always envied, let my other hand rest on his shoulder a moment. Hey man, your wife's killing this presentation. I was just giving her a few ideas from the finance side. She's brilliant, should be running a hedge fund, not marketing. He smiled, that strained, polite smile, thanked me for helping her out. I could practically feel the unease radiating off him, but he swallowed it, helpless. Spring turned to summer, and I pushed harder. Our text thread became constant, flirty banter hidden in plausible deniability. I suggested a shorter haircut that would frame her face better. She got it the next week. Mentioned a sultry new perfume I'd smelled on a colleague. Suddenly, that was the scent filling their house. When Marcus had to travel to Seattle for a week-long architecture conference, it was the perfect opening. I casually offered to check in on Elena so she wouldn't get lonely. Marcus thanked me profusely, told me I was the best friend a guy could have. What a chump. That week, I took her to the new Italian place downtown, dim lighting, excellent wine list. We sat in a corner booth, my foot brushing hers under the table. She didn't move away. One night Marcus called earlier than usual. I was right there beside her, smirking silently as she assured him everything was fine, that I was taking good care of her. She passed on his thanks. I had to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. When Marcus returned, Elena was different, radiant, electric, alive in a way she hadn't been around him in years. He noticed immediately. One morning over coffee he said, "You seem really happy lately, clear-headed." She smiled brightly. "I am, just feeling good." Because she was thinking about me every minute, that's why. A weekend hike sealed another layer. Marcus played trail leader up ahead, scouting the path like the responsible provider he thought he was. Elena and I lagged behind on purpose. Rough section of trail, I reached out, hands on her waist to steady her, pulled her body against mine longer than needed, whispered something low that made her breath catch. When Marcus turned back to check on us, he saw my hands on her, saw how close we stood. His face went tight, cold, but he said nothing. Just turned and kept walking. No confrontation, no claim, nothing. That night she admitted to me later, laughing about it, that she'd been completely distracted in bed with him. Couldn't stop thinking about my hands on her waist. Good girl. July brought scorching heat and my boldest suggestion yet. A long weekend at my family's lake house up north. Private dock, floor-to-ceiling windows, total seclusion. Marcus jumped at the idea, thinking a getaway would reset whatever vague tension he sensed. Reset, as if he had any control left to reset. The first day was swimming, grilling, surface-level normalcy. That night we drank too much wine around the fire pit. Marcus, predictable lightweight, passed out early on the couch inside. I took Elena out to the deck under a full moon, stood close, voice low, hand sliding up her arm. Slowly tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, let my fingers trail along her jaw. She closed her eyes, leaned into my touch. I could have kissed her right there, taken her against the railing with the lake lapping below. But I held back, teased, made her want it so badly she'd beg eventually. She whispered she wasn't ready yet, needed more time. Fine. Anticipation sharpens the blade. Next morning Marcus woke up hungover and whiny, claimed he didn't feel well, wanted to head home early. On the drive back he reached for Elena's hand across the console. She let him take it, but her fingers stayed limp, cold. He asked quietly if everything was okay. She said of course. He didn't press. Coward. August was when I stopped bothering with subtlety. Texts all day, every day. Lunches framed as work networking. Excuses to be alone that even Marcus couldn't pretend to believe anymore. He watched it happen with that sick, helpless look, gut twisting, but still did nothing. Couldn't. One evening I parked boldly in their driveway. Elena and I were on the couch, very close, my hand already under her shirt when Marcus walked in. We sprang apart just in time. I stood fast. Hey man, was just heading out. But Marcus, hilarious, said, no, stay for dinner. I glanced at Elena. She gave the smallest nod and said softly, stay. So I sat back down, in her smirk in full force. Dinner was pure comedy. Elena and I moved like a synchronized team, reaching for the salt at the exact same moment, finishing each other's sentences, trading glances loaded with private meaning. Marcus sat there like a stranger at his own table, the third wheel in his own marriage, watching us orbit each other while he faded into the background. I savored every second. After I left that night, Marcus finally scraped together enough nerve to confront her. Asked point blank if she was having an affair. She said no. He pushed, but you want to. Dead silence. Then he begged, voice cracking, that they could fix whatever was wrong, that he loved her. She said she loved him too, but it came out flat, dutiful, like telling a sibling you love them. She recounted the whole pathetic conversation to me later in bed, and we laughed until we couldn't breathe. September, I played a masterstroke, casually mentioned over drinks that my firm was considering transferring me to the New York office. Marcus tried to hide it, but relief flickered across his face. Elena, on the other hand, went pale. Became withdrawn, barely ate, moved through the house like a ghost. One night Marcus held her while she cried, thinking he was comforting his wife. Then my text pinged. She pulled away instantly to read it, smile breaking through her tears. His tender moment obliterated in a second. Priceless. Of course the transfer fell through 2 weeks later. I made sure of it. When I announced I was staying permanently, Elena's entire face lit up like the sun coming out. Marcus looked like a man watching his own coffin lid close. Another piece of him died right there at the dinner table. October, their 6th anniversary. Marcus planned some sentimental at-home dinner, cooked her favorite meal, bought the necklace she'd admired months earlier. Elena told him she had to work late, guilty tension thick in her voice. He suspected, left work early, drove home on instinct. My car parked 2 blocks away, just cautious enough. We were upstairs, soft music playing, lights low. I cradled her face in my hands and kissed her deep, desperate, like we'd been starving for it. I can't keep pretending, I told her. Lying to him, he's my best friend. I know, she whispered against my mouth, but I can't give you up. I've tried, God, I've tried. That was all I needed, we didn't wait anymore. Clothes ripped off, frantic, urgent. It wasn't our first time, not even close, but it was the first time in their bed with no interruption looming. She gave herself completely, loud, uninhibited, nothing held back. Marcus watched the entire thing from the cracked bedroom door. Didn't burst in. Didn't scream. Didn't do a damn thing except stand there silently like the masochistic cuck he was, forcing himself to witness his wife choose me in the most graphic way possible. When it was over, he slipped away quietly, drove around aimlessly for hours, came home after I'd left. Elena pretended to sleep. Next morning they both acted normal: coffee, small talk, kisses on cheeks. He played along, numb, broken. After that the evidence was everywhere and deliberate. My cologne lingering on his pillows, extra wine glasses in the sink, her phone buzzing constantly with my name on the screen. She stopped hiding texts altogether. I wanted him to see how thoroughly I'd won. He caught us twice more after the anniversary. First time in the living room, Elena straddling me on the couch, shirts off, grinding hard, so lost in it we didn't hear him come in. He cleared his throat. She scrambled off me, flushed, trying to cover herself. I stood slowly, hands raised in mock surrender. "Marcus, get out," he said quietly. No volume, no rage, just defeat. I grabbed my jacket and walked out without another word. Easiest eviction in history. Elena cried to him later, fed him the tired line, "It just happened." He called bullshit, told her he knew she'd keep doing it. Slept in the guest room that night. She told me she heard him lying awake till dawn while she cried alone in their bed. Music to my ears. By November we dropped every pretense. I came over openly, whenever I wanted. Sat on their couch with my hand openly on her thigh during movies. Kissed her in the kitchen while Marcus loaded the dishwasher 10 feet away. Traded heated glances across the dinner table like he wasn't even there. Marcus watched it all like a ghost haunting his own house. Didn't object, didn't throw me out, didn't fight. Some sad, desperate part of him still clung to the fantasy that she might choose him if he just endured long enough. She never would. I made sure of that every single day. The ultimate conquest came on a Friday in late November. Marcus came home early, planning to finally have the talk, maybe salvage some shred of dignity. Heard us upstairs the second he opened the door. Bed creaking, Elena's moans echoing down the hall. This time he didn't turn away or drive off. He climbed the stairs slowly, pushed the bedroom door wide open. We were completely naked, deep in the rhythm, sweat slick and passionate. Didn't notice him at first. Elena saw him first, gasped, tried to pull away. I looked up, saw him standing there, and froze only for half a second before the smirk took over inside. "Don't stop on my account," he said in that dead, hollow voice. "Clearly you're both enjoying yourselves." Elena pulled a sheet up, voice trembling. "Marcus, please." "No," he cut her off calmly. Walked further into the room like a man attending his own funeral and sat in the armchair by the window, the one where he used to read before bed back when he still had a marriage. "No more lies, no more apologies. I just want to understand. I want to watch. I want to see exactly what you two have together that we don't." Insane, but perfect. I locked eyes with Elena, silent question. She hesitated only a moment, then let the sheet fall away completely. Answer given. We resumed right there in front of him. Slower this time, more deliberate. I made sure he saw everything, every touch she craved from me, every way her body responded that it never had for him, every moan she couldn't hold back. She performed, abandoned herself even more wildly, knowing he was watching his total defeat in real time. I took my time, drew it out, made certain he absorbed every detail of how thoroughly I owned her now. He sat there a long while, face blank, taking it all in. Then finally broke. Stood quietly and said, "I'll be in the guest room." Walked out without another word, closed the door softly behind him. We finished loud enough for him to hear every second through the thin walls, her cries, the headboard, my name on her lips over and over. Destroyed whatever fragments of him were left. Morning after, he was already packing a suitcase when Elena found him. Face puffy from fake tears, she asked where he was going. "Does it matter?" he answered, voice flat. "I love you," she said desperately. "I know you don't believe me, but I do." He zipped the bag. "Maybe you do, in some small way, but you love him more. And I can't watch you choose him every single day and pretend it doesn't kill me." He walked past her down the stairs, out the front door without looking back. As his car pulled away, I turned into the driveway. Elena ran barefoot across the cold lawn straight into my arms. "Comfort, please." We barely made it inside before the victory round started, on the kitchen counter, then the couch, then back upstairs to the bed that was finally, officially mine. Marcus checked into some anonymous hotel across town. Lies on the generic bed staring at the ceiling empty, replaying every moment he let this happen. Betrayed by his wife, betrayed by his best friend. Betrayed most of all by his own weakness, too trusting, too passive, too afraid to fight for what was his. Divorce is coming. Lawyers, asset division, awkward explanations to family and friends. He'll lose the house we're already treating as ours. Lose half his savings. Lose whatever dignity he had left. And me, I won completely, irreversibly. I took his wife slowly, methodically, right under his nose while he thanked me for every step closer. Thought his blind trust and loyalty made him noble. It made him the perfect mark. What a rush, stealing your best friend's woman piece by piece while he facilitates the theft, invites you in deeper. Watches powerless as you claim her body and soul. Laughable how easy it was. How he never once stood up, never once fought back. Marcus never stood a chance. Now Elena's mine in every way, no more sneaking, no more pretending, just total conquest, and it feels fucking incredible.